Hello, my name is Andrea Robinette, and I was the wife of Pastor Mark Robinette. I'm wanting to share this book with you that we recently published. My husband, who lost his life on January 23rd, was in the last days and last stages of completing this book. And so I felt it was a high priority that this story be published. And so we made the sacrifice to do so for a multitude of reasons. First of all, because it meant a lot to my husband. My husband had grown and come to love this man through this story. And actually had found a kindred spirit in the life of Dr. Eric Jalmar East, who was the first medical missionary to the Chin people of Myanmar or Burma at that time. Dr. East went into the Chin Hills when the first missionaries to the Chin Hills were there, which was Arthur and Laura Carson, and he worked with them, and they became a team, and they were the first missionaries to reach those people in the most remote area of Myanmar or Burma. And Dr. East spread the gospel. He used his medical degree, and he took care of so many sicknesses and illness and met needs, and prayed with people and baptized people and fed the poor, and just really brought the gospel both through his words and through what his hands did in the Chin Hills of Burma. And this story is an amazing story. And there are many, many well-known missionaries that went from the United States of America during that time. And so many of their stories and their names would be very common to us. We would know them and we know their stories. But most people do not know this man's story. And this man's story is every bit as remarkable as most of those missionaries are. And my husband had a great longing that his story be told. This process of writing it, we had gone through some great difficulties ourselves, and some things even similar to Dr. East's life. And Mark really felt like God had used his experiences to even understand Dr. East even further. And we grew to love this man. This man is very familiar to all of us, to our church, to our family, to those we talked to. We've shared his story many times, and this book takes Dr. East's journals that Mark came into contact with about 5 years ago, and it takes the journals, they're in layman's terms, and then Mark narrates the story throughout, and it is an amazing story. It's an amazing story of the goodness of God and what God will do when we have willing hands to serve Him and lay down our lives for others and work in His kingdom. And we'd really love for you to read this, share it with others, and help to get to know this great hero of the faith, just like our family has. The book that we have recently published, It Is Life to Be of Service, is about Eric Jalmar East. And we have been working on this book for over 4 years. And the research has been done by my husband, by myself, and by my children. And about 5 years ago, my husband came in contact with the journals of Eric East and started reading them, was overwhelmed by them. He would stop, and if you knew him well, you knew that if he was excited about something, he shared it with others. And he would stop, and he'd need to read me portions, and we'd talk about it. And he was just so excited about this man's life, and this man who had done such a sacrifice for a people group that he himself and our family has grown to care deeply about. And Eric East went into the mountains of Chin State and to share the gospel and to meet the needs of those who were poor and hurting, and was a medical doctor who did that. And you will find in his story incredible things that he did. Eric had a hard life in a lot of ways, and as we started when Mark decided to write this book, and through our research, we grew to understand more deeply this man and really began to feel like he was a friend of ours. And even in the home that I lost, in the hallway with my family photos of the historic aspects of our family, we had pictures of Dr. East that we had owned, of him baptizing folk in Chin State, and it was like he was part of us. It was like we knew him. And if you read this story, you'll feel like you know him too. And there were a lot of things about Eric, or Jolimar as he's called, that were very similar to my husband. They gave a life of service. They grew to love the Chin people, the people of Myanmar, and they also had some very difficult times and some hardships that my husband had experienced over the last 4 or 5 years. Really made him feel like when he was writing this story, he could write it in a more personal way, and he could understand some of the hurt and difficulty that this man had experienced. And we have grown to love Eric East, and I think that if you read his story, and through the words that my husband shares, and through the many photographs and paintings that are in here that show the country of Myanmar or Burma, and especially up in Chin State, you'll grow to love him too, and you will see this great man who did a great work for the gospel of Jesus Christ. In the work of preparing this book, and through the times of research to research the story of Dr. Eric Jolimar East's life and the things he talks about in his journals and his experiences, we traveled all over the United States. My husband, myself, and my children, and different children at different times, we've gone from his gravesite to where his family home was, to where he proposed to his wife, to the university that he attended, and then his missions organization. We went to that university to look at their works, and another missions university that we went to. So we compiled a lot of research over about 4.5 years of time and travel and reading books and following things. And often, if you knew my husband and if you knew him well, he could go down a path, and he would go far into it. He was a 2-time AP award-winning news journalist and was a investigative news reporter for a few years in his early life. And so we are thrilled to announce that It Is Life to Be of Service by Andrea Robinette is available for purchase now, and it has gone live, and you can go to foundationsofgrace.org and purchase a copy and share it with others. And there will be, in the coming months, further stories and information about the research that went into this book, and more details about the book on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also purchase my husband's first book, Myanmar Gold, that where he tells the story of his relationship with Pastor Nang Tong and his work in Myanmar and in the Chin Hills specifically. And you would enjoy either one, but please purchase your copy today. Thank you so much.